Hi, folks, and welcome. My name is Gar Whaley. I'm the CRO and co-founder of Teal. Joining me today, I have my partner in crime, the CIO of Teal, Reed Johnston. We've been doing some tips and tricks on Copilot. We teased the last one, excuse me. We teased the last one, PowerPoint. So I think we're going to be talking about Copilot within PowerPoint, right, Reed?
Yep, that's right. We're going to create a presentation from a document like that with Copilot.
Fantastic. Once you share your screen and get started, we'll be very cognizant of your time. We like to keep these to, 20, 15 or 20 minutes or less.
Sure.
Just get some really cool tips and tricks out there.
Yep, sounds good. So to start with, we've got a document here. A lot of times you'll create a document and it'll have some great content and you need to present that. And we don't want to share our screen and read through a big document. We want to create an engaging presentation and we use PowerPoint for that. So our marketing team did a great job creating this document, but sometimes we need to share it in shorter form with our team. So that's what we're going to use Copilot for today.
Just to be clear, this is at the just the text of the blog article that we wrote. Uh, there's no secret marketing stuff other than that's nicely
Yeah.
formatted.
Yeah, the important thing here, though, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is there is some good structure to this document. There's different headings, there's some numerical structure. That'll make it easier for Copilot to kind of digest it and understand how to turn it into a presentation. So the first thing
That's
I like,
that's exactly not exactly the point I was making, Reed, but it's an important point as well. It's just that it doesn't look like there's not a lot of cool graphics. There's no
right,
standard background, standard colors.
yeah, it's just the content, just the
Yep.
data. So when we go into Copilot and we go into PowerPoint, more importantly, I've opened up our template that our marketing team put together for what we use to make presentations. So this is just a blank PowerPoint deck that has placeholders for, it's got 16 slides and they're all formatted a little bit differently. And these are design ideas that our team can take. If I was going to create a presentation, I would use this, I'd save a copy of it and I'd start filling out slides. And that would take me quite a while. But when we use Copilot, we're going to go into the Copilot button in the upper right-hand corner here and open up the Copilot side panel. And it'll take a second, but Copilot will give us some options for how we can use it within PowerPoint. And I'm going to start with creating a presentation from a file. Click on that, and Copilot's going to pop up. It's going to start creating that prompt down there. And there's my 11-point IT security checklist document that we were just looking at on the screen. So when I click on that and I click send, Copilot is going to look at that. It's going to say, hey, wait a minute, you already have slides on your screen. Is it okay if we overwrite these? So yeah, we're going to say, yes, please. Please overwrite them. And now it's going to look at that document and it's going to start building slides for me.
So Reed, why if you had removed the all those slides, you still have a template there with our official colors and our marketing guidelines, branding guidelines.
Yep.
Why did you leave the slides instead of just deleting all the slides?
Well, because Copilot can figure it out. I mean, basically, we started with a template. It had a lot of different slide variations. Copilot's going to ask me, is it okay if I overwrite what you've got? I said, sure. And we can see now that it's done, it did that pretty quickly. It created 27 slides for me. So we only had, I think, 16 or so different variations. And it's used kind of a variety of different formatted slides that follow our branding guidelines. So I always recommend that people start with a template like we did here, because your presentation is just going to look better than if you start with a blank canvas entirely.
Yeah, it was a bit of a loaded question because I built a slide deck this way. I did an event, a lunch and learn event last week on co-managed IT, and I did the same steps, but I deleted the slides in the template.
Yeah.
And the difference is it still had our branding guidelines like the colors and things. However, every slide was like a basic slide, just like a white slide with the correct color.
Maybe like this.
Exactly. Every
Yeah.
slide was like that. So it really seems like it actually didn't use the template when I deleted
Yeah.
the slides.
Yeah, just like when we write a prompt, and we've talked about this before, if I write a really short prompt and I don't give Copilot much, it doesn't know what to give back. Where if we start with a lot, if we start with lots of different variations and we say, okay, create a presentation, here's all of this context, it has a lot more information to go off of. So that's why we can see here it's created slides that look they look like our template, with the exception of a couple of these that really don't have any branding whatsoever. Um, but I wouldn't really be able to use this right out of the gate for a presentation. But Copilot has saved me a lot of time by at least creating kind of a starting point. It's gone out to the internet, it's found images, public use images that seem to match the content. It's broken the presentation up kind of according to the layout of the document. It looked at the different headings in the document. It made me an agenda slide. It made me kind of an introduction slide. This is a really good starting point. And to build on this, I would use Designer, which is another feature of PowerPoint, to allow me to very easily see some different variations of what I'm looking at on my screen and maybe have it formatted a little bit differently. So the designer is going to use my template again. So it's going to give me a lot of examples of slides that are going to look better and be structured a little bit differently, like maybe the image is smaller there. It
So
just,
Reed, just for maybe a better example, can you click on slide 4, which was pretty blank?
yeah, do
Yes,
that. We'll
that's
click
one
on
that
that.
didn't. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, we're going from a blank slide, and now I can click on one of these other options. It put my logo in there. It used the blue background, put the header in there. So yeah, Designer is a great combo with Copilot,
But it's not Copilot, right?
but it's not. No, Designer is built into PowerPoint. You can use Designer really with any presentation.
Right.
So. But what we've done here is we've taken that document, quickly created a bunch of slides. We're able to format them. You might notice underneath each slide, if I drag this up a little bit, Copilot has created speaker notes based on kind of the relevant content in the document. So it's done a pretty good job of creating a starting point for me. So now I could go through these different slides and I could, modify them a little bit, change the content up a little bit, and I'd have a nice looking presentation much faster than if I were to go through and create, 25 plus slides myself. So this is really
Perfect.
great.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Let me ask you sort of a follow-on question. Um, are there any, have you seen or heard of any follow-on prompts that people use when creating PowerPoint? I'm thinking like this is an 11-point checklist that is 27 slides.
Yeah. So this is it's a long presentation. I like to draw people back to um, down at the prompting box. There's some different options here. So there's add an image, there's view prompts, there's manage content. I want to go into view prompts because this is where you're going to be able to see some recommendations and suggestions for what you can do within the application that you're in. So here we're in PowerPoint. It's going to take me right to prompts that are available within PowerPoint. So as an example, I can add a slide. I can extract key information. So that's summarizing. Let's try that. Let's add a slide. So about password reuse. Let's see what we get. So it's looking at my document. It's looking at my prompt. It created a slide here, the dangers of password reuse. It found an image, um, created some content for me. Now it gave me a little warning down here. AI content may be incorrect, right? So unlike other areas within Copilot that'll show me a citation, I don't know kind of how it figured this out, right? It's looking at my document, it's doing some internet searching, but I have to understand the information that's given me back to know if it's right or not. So that's really important to think about.
Yeah, that's very important because the others we assume are right because we wrote them and did some research, right?
Exactly.
Now you ask to add to it, and I also like um, that pardon me, I have a little bit of allergies. And I also like that it prompts you to use designer right there.
Yeah, right there. So it formatted it pretty well. I can hit designer and I can say, oh gosh, I like that blue background instead. Quickly change it. So adding a slide is something that's pretty easy. If you've got an idea, you can add a slide. And of course, if I don't like it, I can just right click, I can delete it and it's gone. I can go back in and I can add another slide if I want to. So adding slides is great. You're pretty limited though in manipulating existing slides. I'm sure there's more capability there coming, but I've had good success in adding slides.
You mean like if I wanted to say take slide 11 and make it shorter?
Yeah, let's ask. Let's see what we get here. I'm looking at slide 16. Modify this slide and make it shorter.
Your prompt was better than the way I said it.
Yeah, so here, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can answer questions. So Copilot can help me understand the presentation, but it doesn't really let me modify the presentation other than here, we added a slide earlier.
Any other quick tips you wanted to share? We're right on 10 minutes, so we want to try to stick to our promise.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I brought it up earlier, but um, when you're in the prompt, one of the options that you have is you can click Manage Content Preferences. And
Mm.
this is where you can tell Copilot whether or not to use the web. So if I turn on the web and I give it a prompt, like about password reuse, when we were asking that earlier, it can go out to the internet and it can find some information. If I turn that off, it's only going to look at my internal data and it's only going to look at my document. So you always want to be thinking about where is the information coming from? You have to fact check the AI because it's just going to do its best at what it thinks you're looking for, but you have to ultimately know the data.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, was there any other short tip you wanted to throw out there?
No, that's good.
Yeah,
We'll
sort
keep,
of in conclusion and sort of a segue or a teaser. If we're using Zoom because that's our webinar platform, but typically we're working in Teams. And in Teams with Copilot, we could summarize this whole thing and highlight all the bullets of
absolutely.
the important points. But I think that's it for today, Reed. Thanks for sharing. I think the next one we do on these will probably be on Excel, which I know you're super jacked about because
Yeah,
there's
sounds good.
Python things you can do. So thanks
Pretty
again,
good.
Reed. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. See ya. Bye-bye.